Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to be talking about Fate Accelerated and the power of Fate Accelerated to engage players. I've always been a fan of Fate for probably about 5 years now. It's been one of my favorite tabletop role-playing games, but I really, I didn't play it a whole lot. I played it a few times. I demoed it quite a few years ago for the Nerdarchy crew, which is, and it's like 3 years old. I think that video's got close to like 10,000 views on it now, which is a real blessing. But today I want to just kind of talk about where I'm at with the Fate Accelerated game. So right now I'm running 3 campaigns. Actually, I'm involved in 3 tabletop role-playing game campaigns. And the number is actually a little more voluminous than that, but we'll get into it. So I run so right now I run a non-Dungeons and Dragons campaign for the Nerdarchy crew once a month. That is a high-touch campaign. There's a lot of work that goes into that, that is my primary activity when it comes to tabletop role-playing games, is making that game exciting for the Nerdarchy crew and bringing a strong story there, right? That is and basically what I do is the Nerdarchy crew are absolute masters at Dungeons and Dragons, particularly 5th edition, although they have experience with all the editions, right? And so what I do for them specifically is I run campaign after campaign, each of those campaigns lasting between 3 and 6 months. And each one of them is a brand new game, right? So it is a non-Dungeons and Dragons game. And the value to the Nerdarchy crew for this is that they get to see new rule sets, right? And so one of the things is these guys work really incredibly hard to, Nerdarchy.com, Nerdarchy, the YouTube channel. You have David and Ryan and Nate and Ted. They work really hard at just bringing incredibly valuable Dungeons and Dragons content to tens of thousands of viewers, right? And so they're giving tabletop role-playing advice all the time, right? I can't teach anything about Dungeons and Dragons to these guys because they know that system back and forwards. But one of the things is when you experience new rule sets, new worlds, and how rule sets interact with worlds, that can be incredibly valuable when you're doing Dungeons and Dragons, because it might give you a way to approach something in a new and fresh way, and in a way your players are not familiar with, right? And that, when you have surprises for your players, story-wise, and even in quick innovations, whether it's, just a faster way to set your minis out so that the story flows a little more smoothly, using representative minis, or just seeing how other games handle initiative, right? All these kind of things can just give you just little pieces of flair that make your Dungeons and Dragons game run a little better. So I'm super really fortunate to be linked up with the Nerdarchy guys, and that is my main game. The other thing is I'm playing in Ted Adams. He's a Nerdarchy game master. He's a Nerdarchy Primarch. He's one of the 4 main guys on the Nerdarchy channel, and I'm blessed to play in his Dungeons and Dragons game. Now that is a game that is being played and recorded, and it's I really take that seriously. So I do everything I can to make my character Aeson Shardgale ready and to play well in that game, right? So that takes a lot of time and energy each month, right? But one of the things that my love for the game is just so high that I want to play other games, right? Now, with the Nerdarchy guys, we are at our limit. I can't bring any more games to them. If I say, hey, if I invite them to another game, that doesn't bless them. And the reason why is these guys are working an incredible amount of time to, they've gotten very good at splitting the amount of time, but their energy and their, is going into the Nerdarchy Dungeons and Dragons content. So, and there at this point, there are people coming to them saying, hey, we want to, start this Kickstarter. There are lots of great fans. who are saying, hey, I have this great idea for a game. I don't want to hog their time. I'm blessed to run a campaign for them. So I don't even invite them to any more games beyond the game I'm already running, right? But I have other stories I want to tell, right? So I'm blessed to have two distinct groups of people that I play tabletop role-playing games. And I just want to take a minute and just acknowledge how blessed I am to have that. And I hope you guys out there get there, right? I've gotten there from being dedicated to tabletop role-playing games for a long time and being blessed to literally, I'm fortunate, and I just want to acknowledge that. And I want to say thank you guys out there on YouTube for being part of that community as well. I just can't believe how many blessings tabletop role-playing games, really supply, and what a wonderful hobby it is. So with that said, I've been running this Fate Accelerated DC Marvel campaign, and you guys have been hearing that story, right? Well, recently, I would call it my side hustle. My side hustle is my third tabletop role-playing game, and that is this Fate Accelerated game. This is played with non-Nerdarchy players, and my crew there is Ted, not Nerdarchy Ted, Mike, Bill, Dom, Ryan. Those are my 5 core. Oh, and John. So I have like 6 players, and it's really awesome. So I've been running this Fate Accelerated DC Marvel campaign for these guys. Well, recently, on a Friday, it's Friday afternoon, and I have Monday off for President's Day, and I'm thinking to myself, I got 3 days, I'm going to spin up a game, right? So I just put up, a quick notice on Facebook and say, hey, everybody, I'm going to run I'm going to run the Fate DC Marvel. Can you guys make it, right? And I got 6 players, but I'm going to run with whoever shows up, right? So that was the idea, right? Well, Bill and Ryan come back and say, hey, we can't make it, right? Now, Bill has actually been one of my most engaged players, and I'm blessed to have very engaged players all around, but he is a major comic book fan. He really engaged with the story. He made the story better, and I just didn't want to advance the story without him. Ryan as well, and so I was like, it's a third of my players. I don't want to advance the story without these guys. So rather than run the DC Marvel, I said to these guys, hey, we're playing Fate Accelerated. You guys know the rule system for this. You know how it works. You know that we can actually make characters in 15 minutes. That's not an exaggeration, it's real. There are so many tabletop role-playing games out there that make that claim and cannot deliver on it. But Fate actually delivers on it. And because you can make a character in 15 minutes and actually continue to build out that character during play, that is huge. That is really, really major, right? So what I did was I said, you guys got 2 choices. I'm going to run an Avatar Last Airbender campaign, or actually one shot, or I'm going to run a Star Wars Rogue Squadron one-shot. This is Sopwith Camel meets the Red Baron a la Star Wars, right? And but actually I was excited about Avatar Last Airbender too, right? And I'm like, earth bending, fire bending, water bending, I really didn't try to sell one over the other, right? Well, the guys came back, and the biggest thing they said is, hey, a couple of them said, I'm not that into Avatar Last Airbender. So Rogue Squadron jumped up, right? Well, the whole point of the game was that this one shot was supposed to be just a filler slot, so that Bill and Ryan, wouldn't have to miss out on the next DC Marvel. Well, so immediately the Facebook thread fills up, and Bill's like, are you kidding me? Like, your fill-in game sounds more exciting than your regular game. So we just ran our one-shot. It was supposed to be a one-shot of Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and it was an absolute smash success. And everybody had a really good time. We had 3 players, which is a small table. We had Ted, we had Mike, and we had Dom, right? And these guys, played in a 3-hour tabletop role-playing game with like 2 days notice, so I'm very blessed to have, dedicated players, guys who really like tabletop role-playing games, And Fate is just amazing. Like, this is an open statement from me, Scott Garibay, to Fred Hicks, saying the fact that you made Fate Accelerated a viable, strong rule set that is 50 pages with an actual 15-minute character setup, and it is free. So I can hand it to as many new players as I want the second they decide to play. Or if I want to buy a $5 hardback, if I want to buy a $5 actual paper rule book, I could do that. It is just invaluable. From the tabletop role-playing game perspective, it's invaluable. It is one of the best games in the hobby by far. I really feel Fate Accelerated is a very special game because it does something that a lot of other games do. So I have this Rogue Squadron game now that looks like it is going to replace the DC Marvel. So the Rogue Squadron game has even more shine on it than the DC Marvel game that I was running, right? Which was not the intent, but that's how it turned out. But I'm just so glad, and being able to jump from world to world so seamlessly, so easily, right? Prompted even another change, right? So Bill, one of my more engaged players, actually came on the thread and said, hey, I missed the Rogue Squadron game, but what I would really like to see you play with Fate is a Western. And somebody's like, yeah, zombie cowboys. And he goes, no, right? Bill said, no, I want a pure, straight Western, right? And the moment he said it, I've always wanted to run Westerns, but I never really even suggest it because most people don't like Westerns, right? But I was just so impressed with Fate allows stories to be told so quickly and so smoothly with so few barriers to getting into that game and playing it that it is stunning, right? I have 2 worlds that I'm running right now for my players, and one of the players is like, I see what Fate can do. I see how fast it is. I see how smooth it is, and I want to see this game played next. So I have the problem of having too many campaigns with a group of players, that are all engaged and want to be playing exciting games, and that is just amazing. And that all comes from what Fred Hicks did. So Fate Accelerated is out there, and I can just I can give 2 thumbs up for this product because it's free, right? Now I want to be clear. The way that I have supported Evil Hat games is I've actually taken the time to buy the Fate World. So I bought probably about a half a dozen of the $5 Fate Accelerated small booklets. They're only 50 pages long, and they're actually printed. They're only $5 a piece. They're wonderful. I wish they were available in more tabletop role-playing game stores rather than having get them online, but I really can't complain about that. I have also bought the Fate World books, right? And those are about between $20, $30. They're excellent. They all give no less than 3 or 4 or 5 different worlds that you can run in Fate. So start when you start Fate, start with the free version. Grab the free version. Fate Accelerated is 100% free. Fate Core is 100% free. And I would really suggest you stay with Fate Accelerated, move up to Fate Core if you need it. But it is amazing. It is an absolutely amazing game. And the ability to excite players about new worlds, and when they see how easy it is to shift from one world to another, you're going to get players who are really excited about new games and new worlds. And the ability to shift from one game, there's no conversion. It's just so seamless, and I can't speak highly enough about it. So I appreciate all you guys out there, that watch my channel. It's a real blessing to be able to just share my joy and excitement with you guys. And Fate Accelerated has been a real joy lately. And I highly, if you're not playing Fate Accelerated, jump out there and try it. If you are playing Fate Accelerated, don't be afraid to mix in a new world or two. Especially, if you get an idea that your players would really want to go in a particular direction. It's absolutely fantastic game, and I just want to end this video by saying, Fred Hicks, you are a tabletop role-playing game genius, and the product that you have created is incredibly valuable for all of the tabletop role-playing game masters and players out there. And I want to say a big thank you very much. Take care.